Welcome back to the channel. We've made it to our new location. We're here in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, Southeast Asia. And we're here for the next couple of months to relax and kickstart this retirement. So let me tell you exactly what has happened to get us to this point. We left Dubai just a matter of days ago and flew here on the 24th of September. I'm staying in a beautiful hotel, apartment complex in a small studio apartment. And well, let me tell you, we took the flight out of Dubai. Our pal Lynn drove us to the airport, and then we had the chance to explore Dubai's amazing facilities in the airport before we took an Emirates flight, my second Emirates flight ever, to land here. And it took 6 hours to get here. And I've got to say, that Emirates flight, it was just fantastic. I've always flown British Airways, been a points holder for years, and finally we decided to try out a different airline. And I've got to say, the staff and all of the facilities on board, being able to watch football matches streaming live from the UK, just really was top class. Air hostess were super friendly, just really great. However, I was a little bit unwell on the flight, I've got to say. It was a little bit trying. My kidney stone was flaring up, causing some issues, and I had quite a bit of pain on the flight. I was quite relieved to be able to get through the 6 hours and get here to Kuala Lumpur. On board, I had a super nice meal. I'll put some images over the top of this for you to let you have a look. I think I had a kind of Asian style beef with some rice, and Yvonne had grilled chicken. If I was to rate an economy flight meal, I would say it was a 7.2. Don't ask me how I work these scores out. I'm just giving you a number off the top of my head. So what else went on? Well, the flight, as I say, was a little uncomfortable. My back pain was kicking in, but since I've arrived here and we've been able to just relax a little bit, all of that has dissipated, so I'm feeling significantly better. We got to the Kuala Lumpur airport at about 8:30 in the morning, and using booking.com I had organised for a taxi to come and collect us. We are 60 kilometres away from the airport, so it was about an hour in a taxi. And the taxi driver who came and picked us up was a super friendly woman. I'll put a picture here of her in the car with us. She had to take a picture because it was all booked using WhatsApp. But I actually booked the taxi itself on booking.com when I was booking this accommodation that we're staying in. The taxi ride itself for the 60 kilometres, 1 hour journey, cost a grand total of £15. 15 quid for an hour in a taxi. Now, when I was living in Northampton and I was travelling regularly to Heathrow Airport to go to my company job, which was over in Germany, I sometimes had to take a taxi, and I can tell you the last Uber cost that I had was over £100. In fact, Yvonne and I went earlier in the year to Lanzarote, and we took an Uber taxi from Northampton to Luton Airport, which is only about 30 minutes down the road from us, and it cost £70 thereabouts. I'll need to dig back through that video and confirm. But 70 quid versus £15 here, so I was pretty impressed. And the taxi driver was asking us, "How long are you here for in Kuala Lumpur?" And we said, "Months." And she said, "Wow, what about your kids?" The two of us were like, "No, we haven't got any kids." She said, "I have 6. I have 3 boys and 3 girls, ages from 3 to 22 years old. She was super cool. I've got to say, my first impressions here in the city is that people that we've interacted with have just been so friendly. Big smiley faces, big nice hellos and welcomes. Even just people we've passed on the street so far have been super friendly with us, so that's been very cool. Alright, so taxi driver, hey, how you guys doing? Taxi driver was super nice, can't complain. We got to the hotel here at around 11 AM. Now, they told us that it was a very strict 3 PM to access the room that we had booked, and man did they stick to it. We were able to check our bags in for about 10 RMB for the 2 bags, which I think is like £3 or £4. Again, I'll put it on the bottom of the screen here just to confirm. But they let us use the facilities in the hotel, so we came up to one of the higher floors. We were able to use the swimming pool and have a bit of a dip, so Yvonne and I did that, although I was still feeling a little bit rough at the time. Hold on, let me just pan this round and I'll let you see what we got here. Look at that. Yeah, so we were able to use the facilities, the swimming pool, which if I can just pan down, I'll hopefully let you see. That was the swimming pool that we used, and I'll put a picture of us at that pool. And that's the rooftop swimming pool that we have access to. And now let me just pan that camera up and give you a view of the city. Look at that. Look at that. Just in the distance there you can see that is the Petronas Towers facing us. And look at that, isn't that amazing? As we pan round here, we're in the Sky Garden just now where I'm making this video while people walk around taking pictures. And I'm doing that. Look at this tool from YouTube here making videos. So, we couldn't check in till 3 o'clock, and I'll tell you, after leaving Dubai at like 9 o'clock in the evening and arriving in Kuala Lumpur at 8 o'clock in the morning, we're now 7 hours of a time difference back to the UK. I was pretty burst. This is the furthest Yvonne has ever been away from home. I've been to Australia, but we've never been here to Kuala Lumpur. We picked this because, as I said before, we want an adventure, and this is it. We've came to a city we don't know, well, we've never been to. I won't say we don't know anything about, because we've done a lot of research, and we're here for a period of time to enjoy this city, go on an adventure, find out what it's got to offer, and more importantly, live as cheaply as we possibly can. And in forthcoming videos, I'll share with you exactly what this place has cost to book for the time that we're here, and what our expenditure is like when we're out and about. But we found out that there was a business lounge downstairs, so we went into the business lounge and we spent a little bit of time in there. There was some beautiful big couches and a couple of people just working away. So I lay down on the couch and said to Yvonne, don't fall asleep, and then immediately fell asleep myself. And so I was in the room snoring, which was a little bit embarrassing. Yvonne had to wake me up because people were on like Zoom calls with their work, crypto brokers and traders and all those kind of people that you would expect here. And then last night we got into the room at 3 o'clock. And once we got into the room, we just immediately fell asleep, the two of us, exhausted from the travel. And we slept till about 9 p.m. And then we got up and, you know, I'm going to say this, right? You can take the lad out of the council estate, but you can't take the council estate out of the lad. We came walking out of our front door, which is just down there. And we walked round that street, and over there we found a McDonald's. Of course we did, we found a McDonald's. And so we went in there, we had a quick bite to eat because we just needed something, and it was right close by. So I'll put the receipt here, show you what it cost for 2 McDonald's chicken meals, 2 mango juices, large fries, I think regular fries, all the works. We had that, and probably we only needed 1 meal each, to be honest. We just needed 1 between us. We didn't need 2, so we ate that and then went back to the room, watched some TV. I had a little nap, probably about 12 p.m. and then Yvonne was trying to get me to move in the bed, and I woke up, and at that point that was me. My brain was in overdrive. My brain was active, and so I lay awake till 6 in the morning waiting for the sun to come up, but passed out before that even happened, and I didn't wake up till 1 in the afternoon. So it's now, to give you an idea, it's now 5:46, and if you're interested, and I know this sometimes interests people, it's 30 degrees here. Now, it's warm, it's humid, it's like Dubai in that way, but it's just 1 gas mark down on the oven setting. So I'm finding this, having had the 5 days in Dubai, much easier to navigate temperature wise. And also it rains. It rained today for us, and it was lovely. It was like a warm shower. It was so pleasant as a Scottish person walking around in the rain. Yvonne and I both dressed in white t-shirts, so doing a trashy couples version of wet tops. All right, so what else? Let me update you on a couple of other things. Late night McDonald's, that was it. Had a bite, and then we got back to the room, had that sleep, and this morning, well, this afternoon, we've got up and explored a little bit more, and I'll cover that in the next video. But I just wanted to welcome you here to Kuala Lumpur, Now let me say to those that are watching to this point, well done to the internet sleuths who managed to work out where I was going, and also those eagle-eyed people that spotted in my text message exchange with my pal that I'd put safe to take to KL. I thought it was amazing that people were talking about Kings Lynn, or that they had thought it might have been going to a Kings of Leon concert. I found all of that hilarious to read, so great chat from everybody, just hilarious. Now, last points on all of this before I crack on with the rest of my day. I want to say a special thanks to DJ Roser, who sent me a Ko-Fi very generous donation to say thanks for the channel, bought me a coffee, Yvonne and I, and we've had that, and I'll show you that in the next video, exactly where we went for that. And I also want to say thank you to my old next door neighbour and long-time friend of Yvonne and I, Ian Thompson, who signed up for my YouTube membership. So that's it for now, folks. We're out here to live as cheaply as we possibly can, and I think we've found a nice little gem to kickstart this adventure. But I'll tell you this much, this is not the end, guys. This is not the end. This is just the beginning of all of this. So thank you so much for following along. Thank you for checking out my videos. Thank you to all of the new subscribers. One last little bit on this. I've hit that 13,000 mark, and that's blown my mind. And I had a little look at the company that I exited from through redundancy recently, their YouTube channel, and I'm pleased to say I've got more than double. Doesn't mean anything. It just gives me a little bit of pleasure out of all of that, to have a channel that's now double the size of the company that I went out of. Nothing more than that. All right, have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for following along, and we'll see you in the next one. Look at this, look. Enjoy your day, folks. We'll see you soon.